delve into it, but Abram is chosen by God to be the father of a great nation. He's going to be the father of a great people, and this people is going to belong to God and to God alone. If we look at Genesis 12:1 in our text, it tells us that the Lord told Abraham to get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee. And I know you don't really need any clarification on that because it is pretty simple, but in the New Living Translation it says it like this. It says, leave your native country, your relatives, your father's family, and go to the land that I will show you. He's telling Abram, he says, leave your country, leave your relatives, leave your father's house or your father's family. And he says, and I'm going to show you the place that I want for you to live in and to dwell in. And so, that is a great promise. But we see that things don't always go the way that, the Lord is telling us. Seems like pretty simple. He's doing what the Lord told him, kind of. Because then it says, after that, and Lot went with him. It was pretty simple when we read the instructions. Leave your country. Leave your family. Leave your father's house. Lot is his nephew. And it tells us that Lot went with him. I mean, they both have wealth, if you will. They have a great amount of livestock and servants. And there's friction that happens between them. And then there has to be a separation, if you will. And Abram allows Lot to take the greener pastures, and he goes on. And that's the Cliff Notes version. But we're going to get into it in detail. Because I believe that there's something that God is trying to get us to understand about our own personal and spiritual lives. And he's asking us the question. He's asking me, but I believe he's asking us as a people, what is your lot in life? What is it what thing are you carrying around with you? What is your lot in life? And so we're going to delve into that this morning. So I have about 4 questions that I want us to ask ourselves. Firstly, what has God chosen for your life? What is it that God has chosen for you? Have you ever really considered that? I mean, it's easy for us to see what God is doing in somebody else's life, but what is it that God has called you to do? What has he chosen for you? May not be that simple to see. Because we must understand that what God wants for us is beyond what we want for us. Right. And usually, it's something that we don't even believe that we can do. God, I want you to be great and mighty, and I want to produce some things in your life. And if God was to say that to any of us, we would be like, yes, that is great. But there's a huge problem when he's talking to Abram and he's giving him this promise. Genesis 11:29-30 says this. It says, and Abram and Nahor took them wives. Nahor is the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Ikesh. But Sarah was barren. She had no child. Remember, I tell you often that if the Bible puts something in there for you to see, it's a reason. It's not just telling you about this relationship that Abram has for no reason. Remember, I told you, Nahor is his brother, but so is Haran. Now, Nahor, we know, is the father of Lot. But then it tells us that his other brother has 2 daughters. And then it says, but Sarah was barren. You got to remember, God didn't go to the whore and give him a promise, although he had children. He didn't go to Haran, who had children, and he was going to be a great nation. He went to the family that was barren, that had no production. I mean, I'm pretty sure they had tried to have children before. Or at least they were doing what it takes to have children, but nothing had ever happened for them. And then God comes and says, but I want you to be a great nation. And I mean, for us, you've never seen that type of production in your life before. He's saying to Abram, I'm going to make you a great nation. And I imagine that in his mind, he's saying, how? And he's sitting there, and God is saying, I want to do this thing in your life. Most of us feel like Abraham in a lot of ways. Probably helped a few people. Probably put a lot more people in debt that they didn't need. So I can't believe that God put me on the earth to be a car salesman. You humble yourself if you pray and if you turn from your wicked ways. But if you do not, then he's not going to do those things for you. That's the way he operates. I mean, he may not say it that way, but the principle is there. I mean, Noah, if you build an ark. Because if you don't build an ark, you're going to die with everybody else. You see how that works? Anything that he's asking you to do is attached to something else. What is it that he's told you to do that he's promised you? Because he's promised us some things. Could it be that the reason why we're not seeing the fulfillment of it is because we're carrying something old us to get rid of? We're not just asking these questions for the sake of asking. We're asking these questions because we need to answer them. They're going to tell us a lot about our lives and our situation with God. And so, thirdly, what is your life? Have you identified what that thing is? You started it, but have you taken an evaluation? I think we need to evaluate sometimes. This is where you are evaluating your life. Have I made any progress at all? Or am I still in the same place that I was last month? Is there anything that I've accomplished in my life? Do I have small goals that I'm accomplishing on the way to my larger goal? Have you evaluated your life? Because I'm telling you, what can happen is you can be living life and just going along and never really going anywhere. Still in the same place. And you know what happens? 5 years from now, you're going to look back and you're going to say, nothing's changed. And you're not going to feel good about you. You're going to say, man, I have done nothing with my life. And the whole time it could be something there that's stunting your growth. Something there that's keeping you from doing what God has called you to do. What is your lot? Consider the story, Genesis 12, 4 and 5. Interesting the way the Bible went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. When you read that, it almost appears that Abram decided, you know what, Lord, this is what you called me to do, and so I'm going to go and do it. And as he's gathering his cattle, and as he's gathering his clothing, and he called up U-Haul, and he's packing everything up, and he's taking off, and then Lot just says, I'm going to jump in the truck with him. But notice, he doesn't stop him from coming. He knows what God told him. But I didn't call him. I didn't tell him to come with me. But Lot comes with him. And then, in verse 5 it says, and Abram took Sarah his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. It's almost as if The Lord is trying to get us to see that there may be some things that attach themselves to you, but once you've noticed they're there, you don't want to let them go. And so you begin to take them along with you. In the beginning, it was probably something that just came along for the ride that you knew shouldn't have been there, but once God showed you that that thing was in your life, you wasn't willing to let it go. And so now we go, when God is saying it, he's saying that you can't fool me.
That's right. That's right.
So you don't have this thing that's, therefore I'm saying you brought it along with you. Because I know where your heart was. You wasn't trying to do what I told you to do.
My Lord.
He knows what's in us.
Right. Amen.
You can say, but hey, I didn't do it. But he's saying, I know what's in your heart. I know that you didn't want to release that thing. I know you still love that. I know it's still a part of your life and you get a sense of joy from it. That's why you won't tell it to go. That's why you won't strip it from yourself. That's why you keep it around.
Come on.
All of us do it. All of us do it. I believe that Lot was a hindrance to Abram. I believe that keeping Lot around was destroying Abram's relationship with God. While Lot was with him, we don't see God talking to him at all. Now God is the one that just all this great stuff in your life, just go. And then he takes Lot along, and we don't see God talking to him anymore. No conversation. Remember, he's supposed to be going to a place where God is going to show him. Kind of makes me think you need to have some type of conversation. Because other than that, you just walking. You just going somewhere. I mean, it's like, you know you're supposed to use your GPS, got the phone in the car, but you refuse to use it, you just start driving. I don't know how to get there, but if I just keep going, I guess I might get there. That doesn't make any sense, does it? But that's what he's essentially doing. Because he left. He's not talking to God, so that means he has no direction, and he's just moving. A lot of us are like that. We have stuff going on in our lives and we're trying to figure out why we can't hear the voice of God. And instead of dealing with the issue, we just keep on doing stuff and expecting our lives to become better. Lot was a hindrance. Could it be that God had promised us something, but because we keep carrying something around that he's told us, it's just hindering us in our relationship with him and also from attaining what it is that God promised us. That means it's something that we need to get rid of. What is it that you love so much that you would allow it to be a hindrance to your relationship with God? I know we say it. Blood is, yeah, they probably did a lot of bad to me. They probably, mistreated me, but that's still my family. And because of that, we have this bond. I can imagine that there's a bond between Abram and his nephew. You gotta remember, Abram, his father Terah, his wife Sarah, and Lot are the only ones that's together. And his father died. The only thing that he has left to connect him to his genealogy is Lot. The only thing that's going to connect him to the loss of his father, which I'm sure for him was a great deal, is Lot. He doesn't want to let that go because he loves his nephew. But God has to. Sometimes God is going to ask us. Come on. He's going to ask us to do some things that are going to challenge us. It's going to hurt to let those things go. I'm trying to tell you, if I could sing and God asked me to be a preacher, oh, that would hurt. I would negotiate my contract. I'd be like, can I sing before and after? You know the message? I mean, because that would be something I would want to do. But if God is stripping of something, then that means he has something better. You just don't see it.
That's it. Come on, Pastor.
You just can't see it because you're looking with natural eyes, and God is never looking through natural eyes. He's always speaking to us and challenging us in the spirit. And so lastly, what are you willing to separate with in order to keep your relationship with God flowing and to achieve what it is that He's promised you? What is your life? Are you willing to let your life go? Are you willing to give up your life? Abram's not hearing from God. He hasn't had, his instructions on where he's going, but he's just living. And he's blessed though. Because this is what it says, Genesis 13, 1 and 2. It says, and Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and again, Lot with him, in the south. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and gold. Here's something that you must know. You have to always understand this one principle right here. Is that blessings don't determine righteousness. Your blessings don't determine your righteousness. Now, we can look at our lives and say, well, God is still blessing me. I talk to people who are in sin all the time, and they'll say, well, God is doing great things in my life. And they're trying to say that some kind of, they'll say, oh, God is revealing things to me, and God is doing this, and they're in sin. And I mean, if you read the scriptures, he said, now we know God don't deal with the sinners. I mean, they knew that. This was just coming out that God is not dealing with people when they're in sin. But you will have people who are in sin, and they'll say, you know what? But God is blessing me, and they're saying that I'm okay. Your blessings don't determine your righteousness. Just because God is blessing, just because you have natural things in this world, don't mean that you're right with God. This is what Samuel told Saul. In 1 Samuel 15:22, he says, to obey is better than sacrifice. That means because you're giving God something, it may come from you, if it's not what he asked for.
Here it comes.
Then it's not obedience. And therefore, it's not what he wants. It's not what he wants. You gotta remember the story of King and Abel. God asked him for it. Said, give me a sacrifice. And you know what it's supposed to be. It's a lamb. But Cain went out and worked hard in the field. Sweat. And he's the one who planted those vegetables and those fruits. And when he saw what came from his labor, he said, I'm going to give God the thanks. Why? Sounds good. Sounds like he was giving God bruised apples.
Watch out for this.
Rotten oranges. He's giving him the best of things. But God is saying, just because it's what you want to give, doesn't mean
Here it comes. Shot.
I mean, you gotta remember, Cain is blessed. Evidently, he had a great harvest.
Watch out for this.
To obey is better than sacrifice. And Samuel has to tell Saul, says, rebellion says the sacrifice.
Here it comes.
Do it what you want to, in spite of what you know God has called you. I considered that, and I looked at Abram. Because he's kind of in the same situation. Because he's trying to do things his way. But God has asked him to do it the way he wants him to do it. Genesis 13:3 and 4 says, from the Negev, and this is in the New Living Translation, they continued traveling by stages towards Bethel. And they pitched their tents between Bethel and Ai, where they had camped before. This was the same place where Abram had built the altar.
Watch out for this.
And there he worshiped the Lord. Abram is actually sacrificing and worshiping God, if you will. But he's not being obedient. God has asked us to do something. We refuse to do it. We dance, we shout. And I mean, we talk. I mean, we sound good in the spirit. We're worshiping. He's worshiping. But he's not being obedient. Remember what Samuel told Saul? He said, listen, to obey. God would rather have that than to have your sacrifice. God would have you do what he tells you to do than for you to come up in here and lift up your hands. And if I'm going to put it where your heart really is, he would rather you have you be obedient than to come up in here and give your money. You think you're doing great things because you worship. I'm a worshiper. I don't know how many times I've met somebody who's not right, but they would tell me about how they're worshiping. I'm like, okay, you're a worshiper, but are you an obeyer? You're a worshiper, but are you an obeyer? Because I'm here to tell you, if you're not an obeyer, your worship doesn't matter. And Abram is in this situation where he's worshiping, but he's not obeying.
Watch out for this.
Now, verse 5 tells us that. That's why even in his worship, you don't see God.
Oh, no.
And he's worshiping, but you don't see God saying anything in him. At all. You think that that's just not good? Or is that there? He's worshiping. But it doesn't say anything about God. It just says that God is still with him. That's your answer to my question. That I'm coming up here and I'm giving you my money. I'm lifting, I'm worshiping you in spirit and in truth. And then you're going to say, but you still got that. That's exactly what he's saying to us. That's exactly what he's saying. You can bring your worship on. But after you finish worshiping, why haven't you obeyed? Kind of hard for us to deal with things like that. But we got to deal with it. Now Saul was rejected for his disobedience. The kingdom was taken away and was given to him. But we're going to see that with Abram, it's a bit different. He loved his nephew. But he's saying, you know what? If I have to get rid of it, if I have to get rid of this relationship, then I'm willing to do it. Because I have a promise that I must attain. You gotta want to attain to what God has promised you. The problem is we learn to live so long without it that becomes our reality and our norm. And we no longer seek after what God has promised us. But when God has promised you something great, at some point in your life, you should say, you know what, it must happen in my life. It has to happen. My life is not going to be fulfilled without it happening. And so whatever I got to get rid of, let me do it. Genesis 13:8-9 says, and Abram said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herds. You came and on the way Lord said. Until immediately after. Genesis 13, 14 through 17 says, and the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from you. I'm talking to you as long as you have that thing in your life. You can think you blessed, but I'm not talking to you. But after you all this time he's been going and traveling, never knowing where he's supposed to be. But as soon as he gets rid of whatever it is in his life that's holding him back, then God starts to talk to him again, and then he says, now I'm going to give you what I promised you. I'm telling you, God has some things that he's promised all of us. You haven't seen the fulfillment of it. And you've been wondering why. But what is your lot in life? Only you know. I can't tell you what it is that God is asking you to give up. Separate from. Stop doing. You know what it is. You know what he's told you. You know what? You need to be more consistent in this area. You know what it is in your life. I can't tell you. What is your life in life? I know what my life in life is. And if I know what she you've got to let it go. Because God has great things for you. He said, listen, I'm going to make of you a great nation. He said, I'm going to make your name great. He said, because of you, all of the nations of the world is going to be blessed. He said, matter of fact, if anybody blesses you, just because they say some good things to you, I'm going to do good things to them. He said, but if anybody comes against you and curse you, you've been wondering why people can do you harm and get away with it. If and then. If you do what he tells you to do, then maybe he will do something about it. But you're still not doing what you're supposed to do. What is your life? You can stand this morning. What is your life? I want you to think about that. Whatever it is that God has called you to do, it's being hindered by something. Ask the question. And if you're not sure, how about you ask God? Reveal it to me. And I'm telling you, he'll reveal it to you. There's so many things we struggle with. But those are the things that God is asking us, hey, you don't understand. I mean, I know people that will come to me and say, there's been people that's been in this church that have come to me and say, you know, Pastor, I know that I'm supposed to be coming to church. You've been dealing with me. That's much. So why you have to come? Oh, my brother had asked me to go in now. Oh, I had worked really late. You know, night before. What is the thing in your life that if you could just remedy that situation, God can give you everything else? I know this morning that God has told you something, and you've been looking for it. Just ask yourself, what is my life? What is my life? I'm here this morning to encourage you to get rid of it, to do do what it is that God has called you to do. You know why? Because then he can bless you. Then he can give you the fulfillment of the promise. Then you can see it actualized in your life. Then you can be what it is that he's called you to be. You can be it. You can see it. That's all we really want anyway. I know I've cried real tears and said, Lord, I just want to be with you. He said, but in our hearts of hearts, we want to be just, there'll be a little easy to get rid of those things. I imagine that the reason why God told Abram to leave his family was because he knew that his family would hinder him in a lot of ways from achieving his ultimate goal. We see that when Lot went off by himself, he found himself living in Sodom. He found himself among sinners, and he was fine. Really being an example to the people. Wasn't doing everything that he needed to do. We see that he has a wife that's sort of like she's the hindrance to him. I mean, did you not realize that Lot has children that comes from incest with his daughters? How does that happen? Can you imagine if you keep this guy around when you're trying to live for God? Somebody who just don't do right? Sometimes it's hard for us to let people go. But it may not be a person for you. It may just be something. But if we can identify what our lot in life is and get rid of it for God, we're doing great things. God has called us all to the kingdom. And he's asked us to do some things. I'm telling you, if you open up your Bible to Acts chapter 2, it's plain in the Word of God what we need to do. Simple and plain. He said you gotta repent. He said you have to be baptized in the name of Jesus. And he said he would fill you with the gift of the Holy Ghost. Plain. People see it, say, oh, okay, I'm still blessed. I still have a relationship with God. And I'm saying, oh really? How about just be obedient? Because that's what he really wants. More than anything else, he just wants our obedience. He wants us to do what he's asked us to do. These altars are open. God is asking us, what is your life like? What are you holding on to? If you